Alright, so for today's assignment, you are going to be practicing value scales with your new Micron pen. So first about Micron pens, these are a fine point marker, and you have 3 different sizes. So if you look on the body of the marker, there's a 0, 1, and also on the cap a 0, 1. That means that one is the smallest. And then your 3 is medium and 5 is the biggest. So there's different sizes, and just depending on what kind of mark making you want, you can use whichever size you need. So to start our value scales first, we need to draw some boxes for them to go in. So all you'll need for this is some sort of standard card. This is my library card. You could use your ID card, a credit card, anything, or even just a straight edge. So I'm going to start by tracing the long side of my card once, and then again a second time. And then I'm going to go around the corner of it about halfway down and then close out my box. So I'm going to trace it again on the bottom once and twice, and then close out the top of my box. So you're going to do that 3 different times for your 3 different value scales. Okay, so I said you're going to do it 3 times, but really I want for you to do it twice that way. And then for your third one, we're going to make it extra small. So just trace about half the height as the other ones. This is going to be our stippling, and we want it to be smaller because we don't want to stipple forever and ever and ever and ever. So this one's going to be about half the height. I'm going to trace the long sides. Okay, so when we talk about value, we are talking about the lightness or darkness of something. So we are going to start with a hatching value scale. So I'm just going to write hatching up here for you guys. And when we are hatching, we want to make our lines as straight up and down vertical as possible, and we are going to make the darkest possible value with our hatching. So your lines need to be really close to each other, and we are going to fade it out, so there's going to be more space as we are hatching along. When we use Micron pens, one thing that's important is that you don't press too hard on the Micron pens because it will bend the tips of them. We also need to be careful of craftsmanship, so that's how neat our technical skill is and how well done it looks. So doing nice and straight lines, no kind of wobbly, messy lines like that. So as I am hatching, I am going slow, and I am gradually putting more and more space between my hatches. And I don't think that I started out with enough over here, so I'm going to go back and fill in because I think I got too light too fast. We want it to be a nice fade and stretch all the way to the other side of our box. No stopping halfway through. And as you're hatching, you want to make sure that your hatches go all the way from the top of your value scale to the bottom. So there's no short ones in there. They're nice and tall. Reach all the way across. Okay, that's looking a lot better, and like it's going to stretch all the way across my value scale. Ta-da! Okay, so it goes from really dark to really light. So that was hatching. Now our next box is cross-hatching. And just like hatching, we are going from light to dark values. And when we cross-hatch, we go in 3 different directions. I had to think really hard about that. So we go vertically with our hatches, we go horizontally, and then we also go diagonally one way and diagonally the other way. So we create this kind of grid pattern. So I guess you could say that was 4 different directions. So this is the best way to get the darkest values when you're using Micron pens. So I like to hatch a little section like this, vertically first, and then I'm going to cross hatch with my horizontal lines so I get this kind of little waffle texture on it. And then I'm going to cross hatch diagonally both directions. And that is a really, really dense dark value. I could go in and hatch more within that, but I am going to do a fast forward through this next part, and you can watch me cross hatch in super speed. Alright, I finished my cross hatching value scale. I did get a little bit crazy with that little hatch there, but by the time you get to the end of your value scale, you might just have 1 hatch in each direction. Now the last one is stippling. So stippling is just a bunch of dots. So I want for you to make sure that you use your 5 micron pen for this, because we don't need it to take longer than necessary. So when you are stippling, you are just doing dots and dots and dots and dots. And the closer you put the dots together, the darker the value. Now I know that you are ready to go, but let me first tell you there is a right and a wrong way to stipple. So when you are stippling, you want to look for dots, not commas. These are lazy stipples, okay? So dots, not commas. They shouldn't have tails, okay? So again, I'm going to do a time lapse so you can watch me stipple. Okay, I thought I could make it all the way to the end of my value scale, but I only made it halfway. So you guys only have to make it halfway through your stippling. We get the point pretty quickly with stippling. So fading from dark to light. And when you're done, go ahead and use this as an opportunity to practice your signature, because we are artists and we sign our work.